Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Please repeat. Namo Brahmanya Devaya. Ramaya Kuntha Medhase. Uttama Shloka Duryaya. Nyasta Dandar Pitanghraye. Okay, so continuing our discussion on the cardinal teachings of the Ramayana found in Sri Govindaraja, who is a Acharya and follower of Acharya and the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, follower of Ramanujacharya, who writes this in his commentary to Valmiki Ramayana, and these are teachings that Sri Ramanujacharya received from his guru, Sri Shailapurna, and is presented to us by Vidwan Gauranga Prabhu. So, we have completed discussing three of the teachings of the Ramayana. The first teaching is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Lord Vishnu. He is the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of the worlds. He is the master of all living entities, and he himself has appeared as Lord Ramachandra, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrughna. And that Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only one who is fit to provide shelter to all living entities. He is the only one who is really compassionate and who is capable of protecting all living entities and is capable of fulfilling their desires. The second teaching is that absolute truth, that Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is achieved by means of surrender. That is how that Supreme Personality of Godhead is achieved. Their devotional service really actually begins. Unalloyed, unmotivated devotional service actually begins when surrender happens. And that happens to be the third teaching. The third teaching is that the purpose of surrender, while there might be different motivations to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, such as achieving protection of the Supreme Lord or fulfillment of various desires, etc., etc., the actual result and fruit of surrender is devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. And that devotional service is exclusive, it's unmotivated, it's uninterrupted, and it is unalloyed. It's not mixed with anything else. So that was the third teaching. Fourth teaching. Such surrender unto the Supreme Lord does not yield the desired results without a mediator who requests the Supreme Lord to bestow his mercy upon the surrendered soul and forgive his previous sins and offenses. This is a cardinal teaching of the Ramayana. So, this surrender is achieved through a mediator. Okay, anyways, we'll read the commentary here. Vidwan Gauranga Prabhu writes, in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 11:28, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes the following verse from the Adi Purana. Yeme bhakta janah partha name bhaktast chate janaha mad bhaktanam chaye bhaktas mad bhaktanam chaye bhaktas te me bhakta tamamataha. Lord Krishna told Arjuna, those who are my direct devotees are not actually my devotees, but those who are devotees of my servant are factually my devotees. This is further clarified in a prayer by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Kabe Shri Chaitanya More Kori Ben Doya, Kabe Ami Paiba Vaishnav Pada Chaya, Kabe Ami Chadiba E Vishaya Abhiman, Kabe Vishnu Jane Ami Kariba Saman. Gala Vastra Kritanjali Vaishnava Nikate, Dante Trinakari Dadaiba Nishkapate, Kandiya Janaiba Dukha Gram, Samsara Anala Haite Magiba Bhishram, Shunya Amar Dukha Vaishnav Thakur, Amalagi Krishne Ave Di Ben Prachur, Vaishnaver Avedan Krishna Doya Moy, Ehen Pamar Prati Haben Sadoy. Vinodera Nivedana Vaishnava Charane Kripakari Sangalaha E Akinchane. When will Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu show his causeless mercy to me by allowing me to attain the shade of the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas? When will I be able to give up this false ego which is so deeply engrossed in sense gratification? And when will I be able to properly honor the associates of the Lord? I will stand before the Vaishnavas with my palms joined in submission, a cloth binding my neck, and a straw between my teeth, sincerely awaiting their order. Weeping and weeping, I will understand the real nature of this abode of misery, and I will beg for relief from the blazing fire of this material world. Hearing about all of my miserable sufferings, the Vaishnav Thakur will submit an appeal unto Lord Krishna on my behalf. By the prayer of the Vaishnava, the all-merciful Lord Krishna will then become compassionate towards such a sinner as me. Bhakti Vinod's prayer unto the lotus feet of the Vaishnava is, please be merciful and take this worthless person into your association. Kalyana Kalpataru Uchvasa Prarthana Dainyamayi 1. So, here Bhakti Vinod Thakur reveals the process of gaining Krishna's mercy. One cannot surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead if the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not willing to offer protection to that soul. Is there any instance of Supreme Lord not accepting the surrender of a living entity when he approaches him? Good example. Exactly. Durvasa Muni. Right? Durvasa Muni approaches Supreme Lord and Supreme Lord refuses to give him shelter. Then what do? You approach the Supreme Lord through a mediator. You approach the Supreme Lord through the Vaishnava. In this particular case, Durvasa Muni offended Ambarish Maharaj, and therefore he needed Ambarish Maharaj's mercy to approach the Supreme Lord. That when the Vaishnava becomes merciful, then the Supreme Lord becomes merciful. So this is a very, very important point as far as surrender goes. And in fact, the Ramayana says unequivocally that you cannot approach the Supreme Lord without a mediator. You cannot go to him without the help of another devotee. It is not possible. You will not understand who the Supreme Lord will not reveal himself to you. Supreme Lord will not give us the intelligence as to who he is, what is his glories, how he is to be worshipped, how he is to be pleased. This knowledge will not be revealed to us without the mercy of a devotee. So this is a very, very important point. And specifically, so two examples are given here in this three actually. Indeed, the Ramayana is itself referred to as Sitayas Charitam Mahat, the great poem describing the activities of Sita Devi, 147. So that's found in the Ramayana itself. The great poem describing the activities of Sita Devi, she has been described as having the characteristics of a mediator. It crashed again. Okay. In her presence, the son of Indra, in the form of a crow, was allowed to live. In her absence, Ravana was not allowed to live. So that's, the acharyas point out that it is because even though Jayanta, the crow, Indra's son Jayanta, in the form of a crow, had offended Sita Devi and offended Lord Ramachandra, when he sought shelter, when he surrendered, Sita Devi was present. Sita saw the crow surrender. The crow didn't explicitly, at least it's not stated that he explicitly petitioned Sita Devi. But she was present when the surrender was performed. Right? And because of that, she became compassionate. Even though the crow might have not explicitly surrendered to Sita Devi directly, he surrendered in the presence of Sita to Lord Ramachandra. And because Sita likes to see the worship of Lord Rama, she considered that to be an act that gives pleasure to herself. And therefore, the crow Jayanta was allowed to live and Lord Ramachandra accepted. And Sri Vaishnava Acharyas, in this particular case, they're using that example because they speak as if that the only reason the crow survived was because Sita was pleased with him. Which means that Sita Devi petitioned to Lord Rama to accept that crow. And that is the reason why the crow survived. And what does it mean? In her absence, Ravana was not allowed to live. If Rama had showed even an inkling of favorable attitude towards Lord Rama, if Ravana had shown that even a little bit, in front of Sita, Sita Devi would have asked Ravana to be forgiven. That's her nature. And in this regard, this is why the process of surrender that we have, the process of diksha, the devotee, actually the process of, and in the time of initiation, he surrenders his life to performing Krishna consciousness. Right? What does the spiritual master ask us to vow at the time of initiation? He asks us to chant 16 rounds of what? His name? He asks us to chant 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He gets a commitment from us that we will worship Krishna for the rest of our life. And actually the commitment is for lifetime after lifetime. That's actually what the commitment is. So, devotee is surrendering unto the Supreme Lord in the presence of the spiritual master. Therefore, Supreme Lord accepts that devotee. Otherwise, Supreme Lord will not accept. He doesn't accept. Digga kale bhakta kare atma samarpan. That the devotee is performing atma samarpan, is act of surrender at the time of initiation in front of the spiritual master, in front of all the Vaishnavas. And all the Vaishnavas are accepting. Spiritual master, the most celebrated Vaishnava in that particular assembly, is accepting that surrender of that disciple. Therefore, Krishna accepts. Therefore, Krishna is accepted. Otherwise, how do you know Krishna is accepted? How do you know Krishna is offering protection? How do you know Krishna is accepted? We see from the example of Jayanta the crow, who offended Sita Devi herself, just because he surrendered to Lord Rama in the presence of Sita, he got saved. If Sita was not present, Rama would have not accepted his surrender. This is what Acharyas reveal, as in the case of Durvasa Muni. You see, that's what happened. And this is why Ravana was not allowed to live. Yes. We would never understand these things without the Acharyas revealing this to us. So amazing. When Vibhishana wanted to surrender unto Rama, he did so only through mediators. Sarvaloka Sharanyaya Raghavaya Mahatmane Nivedayata Maam Kshipram Vibhishanam Upastitam. Vibhishana told Sugriva and other monkeys, quickly inform the great soul Raghava, the worthy object of surrender of everyone, that I, Vibhishana, has arrived to surrender unto Rama. The next point also is the same thing. Rama also accepted Vibhishana as a surrendered soul only through a mediator. And so it looks like the same point. But the difference is that Vibhishana surrenders unto Lord Rama through mediators, and Rama only accepted Vibhishana because there was a mediator. So it's the same point, but just looking at it from different angles. Anayainam wow, that's a tongue twister. Anayainam Harishreshta Dattam Asyabhayam Maya Vibhishano va Sugriva Yadiva Ravana Swayam. O Sugriva, best of monkeys, whether he is Vibhishana or Ravana himself, I have given him an assurance of safety. Bring him here. So, we go back to that particular pastime. Okay. So, Vibhishana. So, Vibhishana and his followers departed, and within an hour reached Rama's camp. When Vibhishana arrives, why is that second point stated? The point before this, why is it stated? Because Vibhishana, although he arrives in the army of the monkeys, Rama is also there, Lakshmana is there. He doesn't approach them directly. He doesn't go to where they are. He's in the sky, he could go. Nobody's stopping him. But where does he go? He goes to Sugriva. O king of the monkeys, I am the youngest half-brother of Ravana. As a former minister of Ravana, I advised him repeatedly to return Sita to Rama. After being rebuked by Ravana with harsh words, I have left my home, wife, and children to take shelter at the lotus feet of Rama. Please go and tell him of my intentions. So he doesn't go and tell his intentions directly. He does it through a mediator. Sugriva went to Rama and said, "One of the enemy Rakshasas has arrived. Although he says he has deserted Ravana, he cannot be trusted. Indeed, one can never place any trust in a Rakshasa. He must be a spy. If we believe in him, then when we least expect it, he may do us great injury. I suggest he be killed immediately." Rama, however, went to the other monkeys, headed by Hanuman, and asked their opinions. The monkeys replied, "Dear Lord Rama, you are the knower of everything. Therefore, we can understand that you are inquiring from us just to honor us." Angada then suggested, "If the presence of this Rakshasa can give us an advantage, he should be accepted with great caution. However, if he poses too much of a threat, he should be turned away." Sarabha advised, "We should assign someone to constantly watch over him. If, after being thoroughly tested, he is found to be our ally, he should be welcomed." Jambavan warned, "This Rakshasa should be regarded with great caution and suspicion." Likewise, Mainda advised, "He should be thoroughly interrogated before any decision is made." The ever-wise Hanuman, gifted in the art of speech, then said, "We do not have time to test Vibhishana. In my opinion, he has come here in all sincerity, hoping to take shelter of Lord Rama. He has understood that Ravana is wicked and that Rama is the supreme emblem of purity and righteousness. His peaceful demeanor and considerate speech indicate the honesty of his purpose, for a deceitful person cannot remain so composed. It is not possible for anyone to fully conceal his inner intentions. The facial expression always gives some clue into one's thoughts. I think Vibhishana should be accepted as our ally without reservation." Although Rama was pleased by Hanuman's statement, Sugriva said, "Since Vibhishana has deserted his half-brother at a time of adversity, it should be understood that there is no one here he would not betray." Rama then replied, "I believe Vibhishana has genuinely rejected Ravana. Such dissension often occurs in royal families. Let's welcome him as our ally." Still unconvinced, Sugriva meekly protested, "He may have been sent by Ravana. Therefore, to be safe, we should immediately capture and kill him. If we accept him, he may turn on us at any moment." Then, this is what we heard previously. I'll just go to the most important statement. What is the most important statement? Sakrideva prapanno yas tavasmiti chayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadam yetad vratam mama. Supreme Lord said, "It is my eternal principle that if any living entity takes shelter of me, even once saying, 'I am yours,' then I award that person freedom from all fear. Even if Ravana were to come here to surrender unto me, I would give him all protection." So, here, there's a couple of reasons why Vibhishana went through Sugriva. One is that as a minister, he's not a king. Vibhishana is not a king, and therefore he cannot approach another king as Lord Rama. But he could have gone through Lakshmana, but he didn't do so. He went through Sugriva. And in any case, if he had, the point is he's approaching through a mediator. And even though his mediator actually didn't really have much faith in him, the point is, still he went through a devotee who ultimately, this process led to Lord Ramachandra asking Hanuman of his opinion. And Hanuman immediately gives the reply that the Supreme Lord wants to hear, which is extolling, Vibhishana's glories, because he sees here's a sincere soul. So, in the same way, we may have different people who bring. So there's the Vartma Pradakshak Guru, who brings us to Krishna consciousness. That particular person may not be a pure devotee and may have, other inhibitions. In fact, later that particular person may not be so favorable to us or whatever. But it is through that person that we obtained our eternal shelter in Krishna consciousness. And eventually, by staying in Krishna consciousness, our eternal spiritual master became revealed to us. Therefore, we always have to remain indebted to that particular person who did bring us to Krishna consciousness, even though they may not even be in Krishna consciousness right now. There are situations like this that happens. But ultimately, so even though Sugriva was not such a great person, the process works. And you see how the process works? Ultimately, Lord Ramachandra brings in Hanuman. And Hanuman in the Ramayana, according to the Sri Vaishnavas, is the emblem of an Acharya. He is spiritual master. He is perfect in his behavior. And he's a perfect devotee of the Supreme Lord. And he brings people to the Supreme Lord. He gives them the shelter of the Supreme Lord. And Lord Rama accepts them because of him. So here, it is because of Hanuman's mercy that ultimately Vibhishana got accepted. And Hanuman is like that Acharya who, after all the Vaishnavas offer their opinion and this and that, the Acharya is the actual person who ascertains the sincerity of a disciple and then recommends that disciple to the Supreme Lord. Here's a sincere soul. You please accept him. And thus, in this way, Vibhishana was accepted by Hanuman. So, similarly, it should be understood that Sugriva also surrendered unto Rama through Rama's devotee Hanuman. So, this comes in Kishkinda Kanda, the beginning. So, okay. So, what I this is very nice. Okay. Yeah. So, from a distance, Sugriva could see Rama and Lakshmana approaching, suspecting them to be allies of Vali. Sugriva became very afraid. Then he and his associates quickly took shelter within the ashram of Matanga, which was protected by the rishi's magic spell. But in spite of such security, Sugriva was so restless and frightened that he kept wandering from one hilltop to another, unable to sit still for a moment. Hanuman then said to his distracted master, "You should give up this paranoia of Vali. Being a fickle minded monkey, you hastily come to conclusions that will surely be rejected after more careful consideration." Sugriva replied, "Whether they are agents of Vali or not, these persons are certainly frightening. Indeed, these warriors look like the chiefs of the demigods and are armed with bows and arrows. Certainly, Vali is very cunning and has many friends. Therefore, I want you to find out why they have come here. Observe them carefully, noting their speech and their expressions. Find out who they are and what they want. If you purposefully glorify me in their presence, you shall be able to detect if they are friends or enemies." So, what happens is, see here you can see that Hanuman, the moment he sees Rama and Lakshmana, he recognizes them as, in fact, the Acharyas, the Sri Vaishnava Acharyas say that Hanuman always knew his Supreme Lord. He always knew Lord Ramachandra and he always had devotion for Lord Ramachandra. And therefore, even at the first instance, he tells Sugriva, why are you so anxious? Why are you so anxious? After careful consideration, all your anxiety will be given up. So, therefore, Hanuman is like the spiritual master. You see, he is the one who is encouraging Sugriva to consider Rama and Lakshmana. And then, even then, Sugriva does not approach. He says, "Okay, you go, Hanuman, you go." So then, of course, Hanuman says that, "O great heroes, please tell me," this is Hanuman to Lord Rama and Lakshmana, "please tell me how it is that exalted personalities like yourselves have come to this desolate region. Your strongly built bodies indicate that you are warriors, although you are dressed as ascetics. My name is Hanuman, minister of Sugriva, who has been banished from his kingdom by his elder brother Vali. I am the son of Vayu, and I can go anywhere at will and assume any form I please. Sugriva has sent me here to extend his friendship and hospitality." So, this is what happens, that Hanuman is showing that friendly behavior. It's not that Sugriva directly is saying that, extend hospitality and friendship, but Hanuman does that. Hanuman is bridging that relationship between Sugriva and Lord Ramachandra. And therefore, here Govindaraja says that without Hanuman, Sugriva would have never attained Rama's shelter, Rama's lotus feet, and would have not attained service to Lord Rama either. Okay, section 5. The nature of the candidate for this means to liberation is one of servitude and dependency upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Commentary. Servitude, Sheshatva, refers to rendering personal services to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in pure devotion. Dependency on Him, Paratantriya, refers to carrying out His orders in pure devotion. So, so this is basically what is the fifth and sixth teaching, that the candidate for surrender has to have two things. He there are other things that he needs to have, but two of the things he needs to have is the attitude of servitude and the attitude of dependency. And what is the attitude of servitude? It is to be a menial servant. It is to perform menial services, personal services. What does personal service mean? You are willing to be a menial servant of the Lord. In that example, in that regard, it said that, what is it? I think Ramanujacharya used to carry water for Ranganath from the Kaveri river. For Varada, he used to carry water from the Vaigai then. That no, not Vaigai. Yeah.
They appeared, right, as a hunter man and a hunter woman when he was escaping from Yadava Prakash in the forest. He didn't know where he was, so this hunter and his wife appears, and then like they take, they take him to Varada, and she asks him for water, and by the time he comes back for water, then he realizes that was Varada and his wife.
But apparently he also used to carry either water or he used to carry ghee for the Lord in Sri Rangam. I've heard that story also.
Ghee, they have a tunnel.
They had a tunnel, so I'm thinking it's water. He used to carry the water of Kaveri for Lord Ranganath. But anyways, the point is that Acharyas perform this kind of menial service to the Supreme Lord. And the attitude of one who is surrendered is that he has the quality of being a menial servant. He considers himself a menial servant of his Acharya, and he considers himself a menial servant of the Lord. How do you know that? For instance, if there is trash in the temple or temple complex, you pick it up. Now, if you're a wealthy person, you're a rich person, you're aristocratic, you will not pick that up. You'll call some servants, you'll call other people to pick it up because you won't touch it. But devotees are not like that. I remember when walking around in New Talavan, with Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, I was always pointing out this, pick this up, pick that up, pick that. And he would pick it up personally, then we would start looking for it before he saw it and then try to grab it before he touches that. But it was like, you always have to look around. And in fact, Maharaj, the first time he actually complimented, he said, it's nice, I don't see so much trash. In many places, there's always trash in the temples, and the temple doesn't have trash. So it's like, and I remember once when I went to the Boston temple, there's a sign. It's a little unfortunate. I shouldn't have said the name of the temple. But anyways, so in that temple there was a sign that was posted, "Dear devotees, if you see white fluffy balls on the floor, that is not cotton, nor is it decoration. It is actually lumps of dust. Please pick it up, and this is service to Lord Krishna." Wow. To keep the temple clean. I was a little sad when I saw the sign. It was humorous and sad at the same time that you have to write such a what do you call this kind of language? Huh? Backhanded?
Yeah, it's you package it pretty, but you're actually
yeah, you're actually really upset with them, and so this kind of backhanded way of having to give such a simple instruction that if you see something dirty in the temple, you pick it up. It's like pick it up and trash it. The only way that would happen is if a devotee considers himself to be a menial servant. And which is why when the opportunity is available to perform menial service to the spiritual master, it's a great blessing. Of course, Vani is important, instruction is important. So there's one personality here who's been blessed for that service, Mrigendra Prabhu, who's going to be the personal servant of Maharaj. So it's very great. It's great fortune to be able to perform such a kind of service in any way that one can do that, to render personal service, anything personal, washing the clothes, cleaning the room, cooking, even offering garlands and everything, it's all personal service. And a devotee should have that attitude. It's not that, I'm such a great devotee, I won't perform menial service. One should never have that attitude. Okay, servitude is revealed in the behavior of Lakshmana. So Lakshmana teaches the quality of servitude in surrender through statements such as Aham asyavaro bhrata gunair dasyam upagataha kritagnyasya bahugnyasya lakshmano nama namataha. Lakshmana said to Hanuman, I am his younger brother, famous by the name Lakshmana. Captivated by his qualities, I have become his servant, for he is grateful and considers little acts of service to be great. So just see Lakshmana's mood and how he's introducing himself to Hanuman. He doesn't say, I'm the son of Emperor Dasharatha, I'm the second son, my wife's name is this, my mother's name is this, I come in the line of Ikshvaku. I'm a younger brother of Rama, and I have become captivated by his qualities. I have become arrested by his qualities so much that I'm his servant. And who is he? He's grateful for little acts of service, which actually Lakshmana is doing tremendous service. He's not sleeping. This is now the 13th year that they are in. In 13th year, it must be the 13th year. They're 14 years of exile. So, 13th or 14th year of their exile, somewhere around that. That means for 13 or 14 years, almost, he has not slept because he's protecting Lord Rama. This is not little act of service. But what is he thinking? He's thinking this is a little act of service and Lord Rama is so grateful. Just that's the mood of servitude, is that one always feels one's service to be very, very insignificant. And one thinks that the spiritual master and Krishna are so magnanimous that they think this little service to be of value and they're willing to give recognition for this. So this is the mood. Kurushvamam anucharam vaidharmyam neha vidyate kritartoham bhavishyami tavachartaf prakalpate. Lakshmana to Rama, please make me your servant. There is nothing inappropriate in this. My purposes will become fulfilled and your needs can be taken care of. So, a surrendered soul knows that by performing such personal service, such menial service, he knows that all of his purposes will become fulfilled. Any purpose that he has, he's going to get it all fulfilled. He's going to become blessed beyond what one can imagine. Right? And all of your needs can be taken care. And the mood of the servant is to take care of the needs. What are the needs? What are the needs? What are the needs? What does Krishna need? What do the Vaishnavas need? What does Guru need? This is the mood. Not that only if I'm told to do something, I'll do it, otherwise I'll sit on my phone, on Instagram. That's not the mood. The mood is, what is the need? So even such a servant, the reason he sleeps, the reason he eats, is because to serve Guru, Krishna and the Vaishnavas. That's why he performs anything, any activity. We should come to that stage where it's not that I'm doing something for Krishna and something for myself, but where everything is for Krishna. Okay, so that's teaching number 5. That the attitude of the servant should be one of servitude.
And
Dependency is teaching number 6. Dependency on the Lord is shown through the activities of Bharata, as described in the following verses, beginning with Vilalapa Sabha Madhye Jagarhe cha Purohitam. After Rama's exile to the forest and Dasharatha's death, when Bharata was informed that he was to be appointed as the ruler of Koshala, Bharata lamented in the midst of his assembly and criticized his priest. So, Rajyam chaham cha Ramasya dharmam vaktum iharhasi. Bharata then said, both this kingdom and I belong to Rama. You should speak dharma in this regard. Bharata's activities and attitude are described in the Ramayana up till the very end, where he agreed to be coronated as Rama's heir apparent. Sarvatmana prayuniyamano yadana saumitrir upaiti yogam niyujyamano bhuvi yauvarajye tato Bhyasinchad Bharatam Mahatma. The great soul Rama humbly and repeatedly requested the son of Sumitra in all possible manner to be appointed as his heir apparent. How do you pronounce that? Not hair. Heir. As his heir apparent on earth. But Lakshmana refused the offer. Then Rama coronated Bharata as his heir apparent. Okay, commentary. This verse distinguishes the ways in which Lakshmana and Bharata pleased Lord Rama. Lakshmana is conscious of his position as a servant of the Lord in pure devotion. He wants nothing but service to him, even by disobeying his instructions if required. But Bharata's dependency on the Lord was focused on carrying out his orders in pure devotion. Lakshmana did not want to accept the position of heir apparent because that would obstruct his service to Rama. Bharata, on the other hand, considered carrying out the instructions of the Lord to be of paramount importance. In Gaudiya Vaishnava language, Lakshmana's service is Vapu Seva to the Supreme Lord, and Bharata's dependency is Vani Seva to the Supreme Lord. So, this is the difference between Lakshmana and Bharata. This is the difference between servitude and dependency. Now, we're supposed to have both. Right? We're supposed to have both. But by the example of Bharata and Lakshmana, two different aspects of surrender is being revealed. Qualities, characteristics. So, Lakshmana performed personal service to the Supreme Lord. And another example of that is Govinda, the servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happens to lie down. Of course, he's always in ecstasy, in the doorway and blocking the door now. And Govinda, as his personal servant, is massaging his side. And then, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wakes up, he finds Govinda on the other side. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how did you get here? Did you cross me? How? So servant is not supposed to cross or step over the master like that. Actually, nobody should do that. Well, why? Because Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated as Paramatma in all the living entities. Of course, somebody will argue, well, he's Paramatma in the floor, everything. But yes, but still, he's situated as the Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam, that he is situated as the friend of all living entities within their heart. And therefore, he has a personal relationship, that's his abode within their heart, that every living entity has. And one should not cross the person. It's not that, oh, he's in the heart, I'll cross over the leg. No, it's all temple of the Supreme Lord. The body is also to be regarded as a temple of the Supreme Lord and meant for his service. So one should not cross over one should not cross over any person. One should not step or one should attempt to walk around it or like that. But in the case of Govinda, he crosses over his master. And Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. This is something you never do. But why did he do that? He did it for service. For service. So same thing, Lakshmana. He does, I break the rule and I have to do it because my service to the Lord can never be interrupted. But Bharata is the mood of dependency. And as explained here, dependency upon him, Paratantira, refers to carrying out his orders in pure devotion. Why? Why is carrying out the orders considered to be depending on the Supreme Lord? And in the example of Bharata, we can see. Yeah.
Depend on him to empower you to do this.
You depend on him to empower you, okay. And? He considers that, right. That, what is that? Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete ko riya eka arana ko riho mane ash. He doesn't know anything other than that. Therefore, he depends only on that instruction. It's his survival. That instruction becomes his very life. That's why he's depending on it. So, my instruction keeps my life. If I cannot fulfill this instruction, what else do I have in life? Life doesn't exist anymore. It's better to die. That's the mood of that depending on the Supreme Lord. He doesn't think that he has anything else. Therefore, he is dependent on it. And he has full faith that by fulfilling those instructions, all his purposes will be taken care, all his needs will be taken care, all his desires will be fulfilled. Therefore, the next line comes. What is the next line? Shri Guru Chare Narati, Aise Utamagati, Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Ash. By his mercy, all desires will get fulfilled. So this is the mood that when a devotee receives an instruction from the Supreme Lord, from the spiritual master, that is his very life. That is his very life. He doesn't care whether he is qualified or unqualified, nothing. Bharata didn't regard himself to be qualified to become the Yuvaraj, to become the heir apparent. He didn't regard himself. He didn't consider himself qualified to even rule Ayodhya. Even on behalf of Lord Rama, he didn't consider himself qualified. But he did so because Lord Rama wanted him to do that. So he said, okay, I'll do it. Now, when one is in that mood of dependency, because one is again feeling oneself to be extremely unqualified, whenever he has an opportunity, he also renders Vapu Seva. Therefore, Bharata, he is not only ruling the kingdom on Lord Rama's behalf, but he is also holding the umbrella for Lord Rama's shoes, which is Vapu Seva. But Bharata's, his opulence lies in the fact that he depended on Lord Rama's instructions. Lakshmana's opulence is that he will render personal service unto Lord Rama. He will not be separated from Lord Rama even for a moment. Can anybody guess what is the next section going to be about? No. We spoke about Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna. What is Shatrughna displaying? So, Lakshmana is displaying personal service, menial servant of the Supreme Lord, Dasya, and Bharata is describing the position of one who carries out the orders of the Supreme Lord and is dependent on those orders as his very life and soul. What is Shatrughna? Bhritya paricharika bhrityasya sevama. That Bharata, the sage Valmiki has revealed dependency on pure devotees of the Supreme Lord through the activities of Shatrughna, through statements such as Gacchata matula kulam bharatena tadanagaha Shatrughno nitya Shatrughno nitya priti puraskritaha. When Bharata went to his maternal uncle's house, the sinless Shatrughna, the destroyer of one's eternal enemies, was also taken by Bharata out of love. As it will be clear from Canto 2 of Ramayana, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna were selflessly devoted to serving and pleasing him. But the Vaishnava Acharyas have revealed different shades of pure service attitudes, in each of them exhibited towards Rama. Lakshmana wanted nothing other than personal service to Rama. This will become obvious as we proceed with the text. Bharata simply wanted to carry out the orders of the Lord, which is referred to here as dependency. He agreed to be in Nandigram and wait until Lord Rama returned to Ayodhya. But Lakshmana would not even leave Rama for a day. Shatrughna was attached to Bharata as Lakshmana was to Rama, as it will become clear in Canto 1, Chapter 18, Text 34. So, just as Lakshmana, just as a servant, just as a devotee never leaves the shelter of the Supreme Lord, Shatrughna reveals that a devotee who considers himself always as Gopi Partha Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanu Dasaha, that he is the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the master of the gopis. That such a person will never leave the shelter of devotees, will never leave the shelter of the devotees. He is as attached to the shelter and association of devotees as Lakshmana is attached to Lord Rama. And Bharata, Shatrughna is in that way is attached to Bharata. And Bharata here is a Vaishnava who is fulfilling the orders of the Supreme Lord. And Shatrughna, and the verse is so nice. When Bharata went to his maternal uncle's house, the sinless Shatrughna, and how is the introduction to Shatrughna given? He is the destroyer of one's eternal enemies, which means if one takes shelter of pure Vaishnavas and always vows to remain in their association, one's eternal enemies, what are one's eternal enemies? What is Nitya Vairina? What does Krishna says? Nitya Vairinaha. Kama yesha, krodha yesha, rajoguna samudbhavaha, mahasano mahapapa, vidyenam ihe vairinam. That this lust And kama also, nitya vairinaha. Lust, which is one's eternal enemy. Anger, which are one's enemies, who are followed by their brothers and associates. Kama, krodha, loha, moha, mada, matsarya. These eternal enemies are destroyed. How? How are they destroyed? Shatrughna shows the way. By being attached to a Vaishnava like Bharata. And always staying in his association. And he was taken out of love, which means that when one cultivates that favorable attitude, one actually loves devotees. Then the devotees love him back and they take him along. We need to be taken to the spiritual world by our acharyas. We need to be taken. We are not going there by ourselves. That's a big joke. We need to be taken. Our acharyas need to take us. What is that verse? Plavam sukalpam guru karna dharam. Mayanukule. Nirdehamadhyam sulabam sudurlabam. Plavam sukalpam guru karna dharam. Mayanukule nabhasvateritam puman bhavadhim nataretsa atmaha. Who is a destroyer of his soul? One who doesn't take shelter of the boat of the material body, of whose captain is the spiritual master. The captain is the one who runs the boat. He takes it to its destination. Without the captain, you don't know how to function the boat. You'll be stranded in the ocean. The favorable winds of the spiritual master of the Supreme Lord in the form of his instructions may be there. But if one doesn't have a captain, one does not know how to set sail to the boat. He doesn't know how to capture the favorable winds. He'll capture the unfavorable winds and get tossed in the ocean. So similarly, Shastra is there, but there are things that are favorable to our level of Krishna consciousness and things that are unfavorable. But if one does not have surrender unto the Supreme Lord, and through his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, who is also accompanied by his associates, his disciples and other Vaishnavas, who are all forming that body of association that the spiritual master is in. Spiritual master is not some alone person who is sitting in the cave. But spiritual master is with his associates. And only by taking shelter of the Guru and sadhus, one can destroy one's eternal enemies. Otherwise, one will simply feed oneself to one's mind and the six enemies for breakfast, lunch and dinner. You just keep feeding yourself. What is the sacrifice? If you don't perform sacrifice to Guru and Krishna, you simply sacrifice yourself to your own enemies. That's what happens. And the mind eats us up in the morning for breakfast. Then anger eats us up for lunch, and lust eats us up for dinner. And just like this, we keep feeding ourselves. They have a big feast, and we simply suffer. We become drained. So it's very simple. So Shatrughna shows that it's such a nice. Shatrughno, Nitya Shatrughno. Nitya Priti Puraskritaha. Okay. So I'll stop here. After this, the sections go pretty quickly, but at least 2 more sessions we'll finish.
Why don't you do
So
another section?
we'll see. And then the amount of service that's there in that place is quite a bit.
They can hear online.
You can donate online.
Online.
Donate on the line.
Do it online.
Okay.
So, this Matanga Muni ashram who Sugriva took shelter of,
Matanga.
is that the same Matanga Muni who we were hearing about yesterday that Shabri took shelter of?
The Matanga Muni's ashram that who took shelter?
Sugriva, right? He takes, we just read that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same person.
It's the same. So, when did Rama visit Shabri?
Before.
Mataji?
But Matanga Muni was not present.
So
Neither were his disciples
his
present.
ashram was just protected like that, isn't it?
See, Matanga Muni is some great Muni. He had disciples. The disciples instructed Shabari. Rama did not meet the disciples. The disciples had already gone back home back to Godhead. So Matanga Muni was before his disciples.
Yeah. I mean, it's so amazing. I was thinking that Matanga Muni is his disciples, we don't know their name. Their name is Ammatangi Muni Sir. That's the goal, actually.
Yeah.
No one should know your name. Know me as a servant of my Guru.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
Yeah,
It gives great ecstasy thinking about it. And another point is Govinda, when he's massaging Lord Chaitanya, he crosses over Lord Chaitanya to massage him. But then Lord Chaitanya, when he wakes up, asks him, why didn't you cross back? He said, see, for service to you, I'm willing to go to hell also. But like for my own sake, why would I cross over you?
Right. That's a good point, yeah.
Why would I cross over you for my own? For your sake, okay, whatever it takes. Chalo, all right.
Now I'm done with my service. Even if if it means I have to sit here and fast, I'll fast. But I won't cross for my sake.
I won't cross over you for my sake.
Yeah, that's a good point. Chandan.
So we're seeing the emphasis on attachment to devotees. So that attachment to devotees, that should give a rise to attachment to the Lord as well?
Yeah, of course.
It's like, sometimes, at least I feel in my life that definitely that attachment to the Lord, compared to the devotees is much less. So it's like, I don't know how
That's
to understand
natural. That takes time, because the Lord, the Lord cannot be understood with material senses. So until our senses become purified, devotees and Guru are merciful, because even with our material senses, we can serve them, we can see them, we can talk to them, we can interact with them. With Krishna, you cannot interact with material senses. So, and even though one is able to interact with the Guru, until actually one becomes his surrendered servant and actually understands his mood, and mission, it's only at that point of time that one can really understand the Guru's desires. One can take his instructions, expand upon those instructions, serve those instructions in infinite ways. Just as Srila Prabhupada receives one instruction because he understands the heart of his spiritual master. And that means that one has come to that, transcendental platform whereby he is not interacting with the Guru on the material level anymore. The Guru is merciful to us, which is why Guru is so merciful. Compared to Krishna, because he appears in a manner that we are able to relate to, just like we can talk to other people in this world, we can talk to the Spirit, we see him in front of us. So, but still, one who just sees in that mundane way actually doesn't see the spiritual master, actually doesn't see who the Vaishnava is. He doesn't see that Vaishnava. He doesn't understand. Vaishnavere kriya mudya vigyana na bujhaya. Yeah. So, he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand Vaishnavere kriya mudra. He doesn't understand the act. But his disciple will understand. So, that means that that devotee has come to that platform where he is able to understand the spiritual. And from that platform, Krishna starts to reveal oneself, because until one comes to the platform where one starts to regard and interact with the spiritual master on the platform of a spiritual relationship, one's mind and senses are not becoming purified. So, but as more and more, as the mind and senses become more and more transcendentalized, Krishna one starts to have more of a relation, one starts to have more feeling for Krishna, one starts to have more feeling for serving him. One starts to think, it's like, wow, and then even when sometimes those feelings come, one feels very unqualified, one doesn't think, these are all just false, it's just some sentiment nonsense, And actually the devotee feels like that pretty much the whole time. He's like, oh, no. Even when tears come, they think, Sajiya, what nonsense, that's what devotees think. They don't really think, I'm crying out of. They may recognize, this is actually ecstasy, they may recognize that. But they don't believe it's true. They think, Krishna is giving me something. I'm not actually on that platform. Krishna is being merciful. He's showing me what that actually means. But I'm still like full of lust, full of greed, full of envy, like this. But actually one starts to feel that taste for Krishna's pastimes. Krishna starts to, when you read, these books, you start to see things that you never saw before. And one develops attachment for certain forms and, like this. But he don't talk too much about it. Yeah, I have some, just like a material person has some fancy, I have some fancies, it's like.
Because at least within our society, at least I know there's so many devotees who have so much attachment to particular deities and things like that. But as far as like personal association goes, like unfortunately, it's like Bengali pujaris, and then you got those who are seemingly attached are generally sahajas, you know. So it's kind of it hasn't been definitely like that attachment to the Lord. The examples of that within our society doesn't seem to be so prominent, other than those few devotees who, like, you know, I've personally, in terms of personal association, I have a few devotees in Prabhupada village, like we've seen.
I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily even a pujari or someone like that, you know. It could be some. It could be some of these simple women who come to the temple every day, just sweep and clean the temple and offer garlands every day. And I mean, you know, it's completely possible. And I've gone to Sri Vaishnava temples and this and that, and I've seen devotees there. Not just Sri Vaishnava, but even within our society, I've seen devotees who are very, very dedicated to serving. They're very simple. They're very, very simple people, and they serve. And you speak to them, you know, they actually know a good amount of philosophy, but they don't feel qualified to speak much. They don't speak much. They may say one or two words, but those one or two words can be very instructive. So there are many. There are actually many devotees like that. I mean, like, you know, they went and spoke to Nidra Mataji. What an example.
Please.
What an example. How dedicated she is to serving the deities, Radha Govinda there. And all this. There's many. And, you know, when I went to LA, I saw many of them. I saw many devotees like that who were deeply attached. They're pretty fixed up, actually. Like, even who was this Mataji who was taking care of Prabhupada's room?
Oh yeah, she talked to us.
Jagadambika Mataji. Jagadambika Mataji. No, I mean, you know, you can call fanatic this, that. And you know, she would have you wipe your feet, and then she would put a cloth on the floor, and then you have to wipe your feet. And this whole thing, you know, before you enter that room, it was like such a huge thing. But then when she's there, you can see she's so particular. I saw a devotee I mean, we met that brahmachari in Mayapur who's taking care of Prabhupada's room. He really likes to take care of Prabhupada's room, and he really takes a lot of effort. And you know, such people generally are also people who will chastise some of the people who come in there and don't know how to like do what they, you know, and this and that. You get like nice chastisement, but. I mean, if Jagadambika Mata chastise you, you know what chastising means. He'll sauce you out like anything. And then ban you from Prabhupada's room, you know. It's like, oh yeah, she can ban you. And Suvas Prabhu will support that ban. You know, it's like, so it's like, you know, but you know, at the same time, she has her heart in the right place. You know, she's a book distributor, she's special people. She'll give you all special kind of thing, open up things and show you things that she generally doesn't show people, you know, and this and that. Jagadambika Mata. And then there is Rabindranath Prabhu, who's been serving, you know, Rukmini Dwarkadish for how many decades, you know. So Vas Prabhu himself is, you know, he you know, the amount of love and affection he has for those deities, very palpable. I felt very inspired by many examples in LA. That first trip to LA, I'll never forget it. It's a very, very memorable trip for me.
Every time I think this Vedanta Desika watching this film that we saw of him, like how just their attachment to the Lord. It's like, wow, you know, especially that the dancer and her dedication to the Lord.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you see that is like quite inspiring. It's like, wow, that's we wish I had that.
You know, Manoj was sitting right here, and you know, he was speaking with that devotee in Chicago, Prabhupada disciple, you know, who just is, huh?
Oh
Jitendra
yeah,
Prabhu,
Jitendra.
You know, he
God,
like, you know,
he's really amazing.
Once the service, you know, he just cleans the bathrooms and cleans the temple the whole day.
Takes the trash out.
Where will you find him cleaning? Probably cleaning a bathroom or taking the trash out or fixing them. And he said, who's going to say Jayam Vishapat to him until he goes to the spiritual world? You know, when he goes to the spiritual world. You know, so it's... You know,
it's true. There's also a devotee like that in Boston.
Vaishnavananda Prabhu.
Vaishnavananda.
His name was Bhakta Vic.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
he passed away.
Yeah, he left his body, and then, like, you know, he was about to get initiated, and he just, like, pieces out from his initiation. He doesn't want to get initiated because he thought he was too
unqualified, yeah.
Or something. And
Same thing.
And then Niranjan Maharaj was like, whether you like it or not, your name is Vaishnavananda Das, and you're my disciple, and you're initiated by me, you know. And then the devotee, goes, definitely.
He gets initiated towards this end,
Yeah,
at
towards
the
the
end of his life, when he's about to pass away.
Yeah,
When it's
but-
clear that he's going to pass away, he gets initiated. But he would just clean the he's the cleaner of the Boston Temple for decades. And these people have some serious attachment to the Supreme Lord.
Yeah.
And you cannot.
no
it's-
joke.
Yeah.
I was thinking this process of recommendation, that
The process
the
of recommend-
mediator to have a Prabhupada implemented in our society that if you want to get initiated, you have to get a recommendation from your temple president.
Yeah, also.
Otherwise you won't get it. So we have to get recommended.
It's true.
Thank you for recommending me. Thank you.
Anybody has anything else? Jacob? No. Anybody has anything? No, none from the men. Okay. Matajis? Anything from the Matajis? No. Okay, all right.
I told you you could have done that.
Shri Shri Gauranitai Krishna Balram Radha Shama Sundar ki jai. Shri Valmiki Ramayan ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhya